Hello, my unstable angels. How are you this week? I hope you're well. If you're new here, hello. It took you long enough. My name is Brittany McLean. I am a celebrity pro makeup artist. I am here for you. Most weeks I try to be for just the tip. I've been a celebrity pro makeup artist for about 15 years. I've been able to work with a few celebrity faces, and then I've done some commercial, print, and film work. Those are my favorite things to do. And now I am on YouTube, and I try to make videos for you guys that serve you with some entertainment, but also some comedic entertainment, you know, because
this world is just going to hell in a handbasket.
And we all need a good laugh, you know? Sometimes you just need a good laugh. And also, if you've been here before, you might see somebody kind of new. And I want you guys to meet, okay, this is Wanda, okay? Did I need this? No. Did I want this? Yes. Why? Because I could put eyelashes on her, and I gave her a teeth whitening treatment, and eventually she'll have clothes and a wig, but for now, you know, we're making do with what we have. I found her at a big like flea market, and there she was just hanging there for $25, and I told my husband to look up on Amazon how much those, like, this is like a human-sized skeleton, like it's big, it's tall. And I was like, see how much those go for. They go for like 40, 50 bucks on Amazon. So I'm like, that's a steal. I'm buying Wanda. So, and she's pink, she's bright pink. We'll build her up a little bit as we go, but yeah. So I named her Wanda because the Scarlet Witch is my favorite Marvel character. So if you're a nerd and you understand all of that, then you're home here and you should subscribe. If you don't, you should still subscribe, because I think I have a lot to offer in terms of makeup tips and maybe some comedy. So you might enjoy it here. I don't know. But this is my little side of YouTube, and I try to have fun. I don't know. So meet Wanda, everyone.
Hi, Wanda.
Hello, Wanda. Welcome, Wanda.
Please click subscribe. Please like. Please share. Every little bit helps. And I hope you enjoy today's episode. Today, we're gonna dive into some of our spookiest, creepiest, real life paranormal experiences submitted by you. I've got my brushes, I've got my bravery, I've got a bunch of ghost tea that's hotter than my curling iron, you know? Okay, let's kick things off with a story that kind of had me like questioning the creaks going on in my house. Okay, my house is a little, it's not old. It was built in this, I was almost said it was born in the 60s. It was born in the 60s, 1960 to be exact. 2 people passed away here. I do have creaks in the house sometimes. It's fine. But this one had me wanting to grab my setting spray like it's holy water, okay? Because this next story is from KJ in McKinney, Texas. And let me tell you, really bad for anyone who lives in that apartment that she moved out of. Because when I tell you this story, I'm like, nope, nope. She signed a lease with a ghost. So KJ was a newly divorced single mom who was really looking to find an apartment that didn't cost an arm, a leg, and a kidney, which is honestly quite hard to do, especially in a place like McKinney. So we'll just say that her options were probably a little limited. The cost of living in Texas is atrocious, and that's why she had a little bit of a hard time. But apparently she found a great deal with an apartment, and it was on the 3rd floor, which let me tell you something. 3rd floor apartments, are you kidding me? Y'all better have an elevator, because what? Who is hauling groceries up 3 stories? Not I. Nope. But it was on a 3rd floor. She got a discount. She snatched it up. 3rd floor apartments are not for the weak, especially in the Texas heat. I'm just saying. While we're here, wedding venues with long-winded staircases, I'll be sending you a strongly worded email, okay? Because this is 2025. Why don't you have escalators, elevators, any kind of vaders, levitators, anything to help people with their equipment upstairs? Because you know, it's just rude. It's just rude. And having long-winded staircases is just, you know, that's a whole battle. If you're a vendor, then you know. Back to the ghost. So the place seemed fine. Modern, cute. It didn't give off any Victorian vibes, like haunted Victorian vibes. It wasn't like an old apartment. Seemed fine. It seemed fine. Things were chill for a minute. A month in, KJ gets a complaint from downstairs neighbors, basically saying that, hey, like, not real sure what, it was like a noise complaint. So like, not real sure what kind of parties you were having up there, but basically KJ thought maybe it was like her, you know, son who was small, maybe he was running, maybe he was being really loud, or she thought even it could have been her dog that's like 10 pounds and has like the attitude of a Doberman. You know, maybe she thought it was like the dog, you know, but turns out that the neighbor said it was a specific night, and that specific night KJ did not have her son, and she really didn't think that her dog could make that much noise. I mean, it was a 10-pound dog, so like, how loud can it be, you know? Like, yeah, dogs like tap dance, you know, like they do things, but like, is it really like that disruptive? Like, is it really that loud? She couldn't make sense of why her neighbor was complaining when there wasn't anyone there. That was like the first thing. She kind of brushes it off, and maybe she, you know, accidentally dropped something, or maybe she was just being loud and just didn't realize. So she like kind of just brushed it off and was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like, all right, take note. I'll be better. Whatever. But then her dog starts that classic, like, dog looking at nothing but like growling situation. Like, Molly, you in danger, girl, you know? And we all know how intuitive animals are. I do firmly believe that dogs can and do see things that we do not. And so she was like, okay, this is weird. Why are you doing that for? What's that for? I don't see anything, but you're growling and you're like clearly hearing something or seeing something that I cannot. And I feel like there are those times where like you might, I had a dog do that once, stared at a closet and just growled. And this dog never growled at hardly anything. But this particular night it did. And it was a little weird. I was a little scared. Personally, at this point in my life, if my dog starts barking or growling at the air, I'm going to pack up and move out and call a pope. Your girl knows better now. But as if that wasn't bad enough, things start moving. Yeah, no. She'd come home and things would be out of place. For instance, her hairbrush would be moved into a place where she would not put it. She is, for the most part, by herself. She has her son 50% of the time. But the certain instances that she would recall, like, he wouldn't be there, and her brush would be not in the bathroom where it was supposed to be. It was like on her bed. And then pens would be randomly placed in places she didn't leave them. She mentioned that there was a spatula that was just vibing on the counter, like it didn't even belong on the drawer. Like, she kept things in places where they should go. And her kid wasn't there half the time, so, and her dog didn't develop thumbs. So, like, why are things moving? We have questions, okay? What does this mean? The ghost is comfortable, but this ghost moving things, like, that's pretty bold. It's pretty bold. Then, as if things weren't creepy enough, her son gets up in the middle of the night, goes to her, and says, there's a man over my bed. There's a man over my bed. Excuse me, what? KJ did what any good mom would do. She scooped him up and brought him into her bed, and that's the one and only time she said she's ever had to do that. And so that kind of says a lot, you know? I mean, her son was 4 at the time, so wanted her son to feel safe. So she put him in her bed, and she's like, okay, you can sleep here tonight. But that's weird. Like, why would you say that? Because when your kid sees a shadow man, it's not a go back to sleep situation, okay? It's a, we're getting baptized tomorrow at 10 a.m., okay? Baptized tomorrow at 10 a.m. Yep. Hate to say it, but it gets worse. It gets worse. I don't know what's worse than that, but it gets worse. She's home alone, left something out in her car, so she's going down to her car to go get the thing. She walks down the 3 flights of stairs and she hears footsteps that match hers, but they're echoing behind her, like they're trailing behind her. She can tell that she feels like she's being followed, and she feels like she can't quite, like she doesn't see anyone following her. She's looking back, she doesn't see anyone, and she's freaked out immediately, like freaked out. She just hears these footsteps that mimic hers, and she stops, and the footsteps stop too, right behind her. Our girl KJ bolts, gets to the car, like full-blown panic attack, locks the door, like that's gonna stop the ghost, but she locks the door. She takes a few minutes to collect herself. She just kind of like, okay, let me breathe. Let me make sense of what is happening right now. I can understand. Like I would just be like, I don't even know. I don't know. All I do know is that would be enough to freak me out. Okay. Eventually though, KJ does return to her apartment, and as she's still feeling very uneasy when she walks up the stairs too, because she's like, whatever is here is clearly watching me and paying attention to what I'm doing. KJ is still hearing the footsteps trailing behind her, and it's still freaking her out, rightfully so. Okay, because like, yeah. So immediately she decides to confront the entity, and she says, "Can you please just let me get to my apartment alone? Please, sir." And you know what? It worked. The ghost respected the vibe check and it stopped. Her friends did think that she was being a bit dramatic. They didn't really understand her struggle because they weren't living it. I mean, it has to feel a little isolating to know that you're experiencing these things, and knowing that like there's going to be people out there who are skeptics and don't believe, and that's okay. Like, to each their own. But for KJ, going through so much already, being a single mom, it just felt isolating, I'm sure. KJ girl, I'm sorry. Like, I wish I could have been there to hold your hand and maybe do like a spirit box session. I'm into that kind of thing. You might not be. That's fine. That's fair. Especially when you have kids. I get it. It finally took one of her friends having their own experience to believe her. Okay. So one of her friends was in the bathroom using the loo, as ones do, as people do. They felt disturbed. Something had brushed past them and then disappeared, and they swore they had an experience, and she's like, "Told you. I told you so."
My, how the tables have turned.
So then, plot twist, okay? Her now husband, then boyfriend, he comes over and he's like, "I've been here before." I know. Like, you've been here before? Wait. I have questions. For what? Apparently, he used to couch surf there, and he explains to her that something was definitely off when he was couch surfing there too. Like, he felt that the vibe was off. He couldn't quite put his finger on it, but he's like, something's going on, and I don't know if I like it. And so, weird enough, it seems like that apartment might have been like a little like party yardy apartment, you know? Like, I mean, if you have couch surfing happening, it's probably like a place where, some of the young kids were getting together and hanging out and just having a good time. And maybe something tragic happened there. We don't really know for sure, but it's what it seems like, right? KJ is kind of taken aback by this. She's like, "Well, bro, what? Like, kind of confirming things for her. Like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not going through this by myself. Like, you think that the vibe is off too, so that must mean something, right? And then like my friends are having experiences, and like, so this all is making sense for her now, which is great. She's no longer feeling as isolated as before, but she still is just uneasy. I tell you, this ghost didn't just haunt the apartment. She don't want to assume, signed a lease and stayed there rent-free for years. So that, that's one way to get free rent. KJ eventually decides, after I guess her lease is up, to hand in those keys to the office manager. Did a whole walkthrough, did the final walkthrough and everything, and was like, hey bestie, this place, you should get it blessed, okay? If it was me, I would have left a sage stick with specific instructions for the next tenants, because listen, that's scary. To know that you experienced all of that, like that's I can only imagine how terrifying that must have been for her and her son, because kids, I feel like, are a lot like animals in the way that they are very sensitive and susceptible to hauntings. I don't know. I feel like they have this innocence about them that picks up on things like that. Now, moral of the story, if your dog starts barking at corners and your spatula starts like teleporting places, you might be living with a ghost who has very strong opinions about home decor or is legit stuck in like a time loop. If this was me, again, my comfortability with paranormal stuff is not normal. So I would have probably tried to help it move on somehow, but not everyone is equipped with the knowledge on how to do that, and they don't want to do the wrong thing, stir things up, or make things worse. So I get it. But if it was me, that's probably what my course of action would have been. But I handle things a lot differently than like most, you know? But I'd be kicking that thing out here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And here's the other thing too. Rentals are a revolving door of energy. And I feel like you're going to get certain things or pick things up that may be like traumatic experiences that have happened in places. Like, I know it's not ideal. You can't always control what's happened in a place, and you can't always control your living situation. I've been there. You gotta do what you gotta do. You can't deny the undeniable. When things are happening and you feel like you're crazy, just know you're not. Just know you're not. I think anything is possible. I'm probably the most gullible person on earth because I feel like anything is possible. I do. I felt things you can't explain, and nothing feels more isolating than knowing that you're feeling it and you're in the thick of it and nobody believes you. And now we're gonna heat things up, literally. This next story is from Katie in Dallas, and y'all, this apartment had everything. Okay, bad vibes, malfunctioning AC. Listen, in Texas, that's a crime. And a digital demon DJing her LimeWire playlist.
Let's get the party started.
I'm thinking LimeWire. When she said LimeWire, I was like, hold up. LimeWire? I remember those days. All the viruses and all the things, you know? LimeWire, was it LimeWire? Those were the days. And yep, I did not have LimeWire for legal reasons. I did not have LimeWire. I am familiar with LimeWire, but I didn't have it. Nope. I'm kidding. That's illegal, guys. Let me set the scene for you though. Katie is 18. She's moving into her very first apartment, and she's moving into this apartment with her older sister, who was just 2 years older. And then her oldest sister managed the apartment. And so her older sister decided to show them the place. It's kind of dark outside. So she was trying to take pictures of the apartment with like her flash so that she could get like a picture of like the layout and the setup and everything. For unknown circumstances, they had to go look at the apartment at night. I'm assuming because of work, that kind of thing. Katie's like snapping pictures with her digital camera with the flash on, like so she could also like show her mom, show her friends, like look at her fun, cool apartment. It's her first apartment, like, and she's moving in with her sister. Like, that's fun, that's cool. And you know, I'm assuming also to like plan out where to put furniture and different things, right? She says that she sees orbs everywhere. Like sometimes it shows up, sometimes orbs like will show up in a weird shape and like and then like disappear. I don't know what that was, but sometimes they're a ball and they're like a perfect sphere and they'll like float around and then just disappear all in the same frame. Like, you know when it's dust, you know when it's an orb. Like I feel like it's a little bit easier to debunk what is an orb and what's not an orb if it's in video. So as a side note, she saw orbs. So they move in and Katie starts feeling weird vibes in the bathroom. She's like, it's weird in here, you know? Like, you know how you'd be sitting in the bathroom and you just kind of like looking around and you're just kind of like, I don't know, just like paying attention to like small things. You start seeing things, you know. Katie says like the wood grain in the bathroom kind of got weird. Like you could make faces out of like the wood grain, you know. And then Katie says like once she started noticing like the faces in the wood grain, like that was as if that wasn't creepy enough. Their thermostat starts acting kind of weird. This is in the middle of a Texas summer. You already know their air conditioner, it started blowing heat. And it blew heat nonstop. No matter what they did, they took the batteries out of the thermostat and it would still blow heat. They took the thermostat off the wall and it still blew heat. They could not figure out why it was blowing only heat. They could not figure it out. Even maintenance came, and maintenance is like, we don't know. What is that? It was typical maintenance, you know. They just be hiring anybody that don't really be knowing things, but they just, you know, they give them a job anyway, and they're like, it's fine, you'll figure it out. You can YouTube it. So these, even the maintenance people were like, I don't know, we can't figure this out. We have no idea what's going on. We have no idea why it's blowing heat, and we're sorry, but like, I don't know. Like, it's the portal to Satan's lair in there, you know? And you know it's a haunting when the HVAC unit starts acting like Satan's personal sauna, okay? Like, that's just rude. So rude. It's just one of those things like, that's weird. That's strange, you know? And it would piss me off because heat does that to people. It pisses people off. You know, it's just miserable. Especially in Texas, it's just miserable. So then Katie's older sister that she's living with starts having like night terrors, full-blown night terrors, like waking up, crying, sweating, panicked, like. And her room, listen, Katie describes her sister's room covered in mirrors. I'm sorry, design-wise, I'm trying to make that make sense because I'm like, I know, I believe you, Katie. I'm just saying, like, could you imagine, first of all, what a dainty and dangerous room. Listen, I can hardly be trusted with a hand mirror without breaking it. I don't know how many years of bad luck that's gonna give me. But to have a whole room of mirrors, like, can you say portal? Portal, okay? Because that's weird. Like, design-wise, why? Unless you're just a freak in the sheets, and you just want to see everything, you know? I mean, that makes sense too. Listen, I'm not yucking anyone's yum. I'm just saying, okay? I have heard the theory that when you have mirrors that are like facing each other, like, that's a good way to have a portal. So you don't really want to do that because you can be inviting all kinds of weird energies in, and I don't know, not for me. It's not for me. Her and her sister are working minimum wage jobs. There's no cable, there's no internet, there's no furniture. Just two sisters, a box TV with rabbit ears with the foil, you know, the whole thing. And Katie had a laptop.
As Katie's legal representative, she had not burned LimeWire CDs either, okay?
But she says that she had a CD in her laptop that she would routinely fall asleep to, and everything was performing correctly, always has, always did, except that night. Katie wakes up completely disoriented. Her music is skipping, not once, not twice, but like every few seconds. Her songs are like glitching and skipping forward, skipping backwards, starting over. She sits up, she's confused, and then she heard a man's voice speaking over the skipping music. She didn't even wait to find out what was being said. She chunked her laptop, like she ripped the battery out of it, and then she threw her laptop and the battery in two separate, like she's like, bye. Which, if you know Paranormal, you know that they have a tendency to manipulate electronics and can manipulate electronics, and it happens. Poor Katie, just her and her sister were really going through it. Really going through it. I can only imagine how scary that probably felt, being young and having her new place and then finding out it was occupied. Honestly, girl, 10 out of 10 on survival instincts, because yeah, I would have sage bombed that whole apartment and left mid-rent too. Sorry, sis, I gotta go. I can't stay here anymore. Katie describes herself as feeling extremely violated. You know, her time, her space, her energy, everything just felt violated. And sleep puts you in a very vulnerable position. So when you're trying to go to sleep and you're listening to your music and whatever's playing is going to impact your dreams a little bit, right? Slip into your subconscious. So she's actively thinking, what is trying to get in my head? What's trying to, like, what is happening right now? So again, sleep is a very vulnerable position to be in. Was this a demon? Was it paranormal? Was it a ghost? Was it a spirit? We don't really know for sure, but she moves out immediately, like within the week. Still paid her rent because she's a responsible tenant, but she refused to sleep there at night. Couldn't do it, wouldn't do it. Her poor sister stayed behind and things only got worse. And the kicker? Here's the kicker. Her older sister casually, in passing, says,
Yeah. Someone did die here in the complex. Yep.
didn't say who, didn't say where, just that they had died. Just little drops of spooky breadcrumbs, and walks away. That was her experience, and it was a creepy one, and so she lived to tell the tale, and she actually posted her story on my Reddit community. So if you're there, you will see Katie's story in full. When you're truly in the moment, it feels so much scarier. But moral of this story is, if your AC is blasting hellfire, if your LimeWire playlist starts channeling ghost radio, or if you're living in a mirror palace, maybe don't. I mean, yeah. But also you're excited. It's your first apartment. Like you're supposed to be excited. It's not supposed to be haunted. We know Katie's a good person because she paid that rent anyway. All right, y'all, now let's talk about Valerie. Let's talk about Valerie, okay? I'm sure hindsight is always 2020. Is that? I know that's our vision. Is that the right phrase? I'm pretty sure it is. I know that sometimes we look back on things and we're like, that might have not been the smartest choice. I'm kind of feeling like Valerie knows this now, but at the time, okay, she learned like many of us do. I'm going to say this one time for everyone to hear. If you don't know how to use an Ouija board, don't do it. Please don't. This is a public service announcement. It's dangerous, and if you don't know what you're doing, you could unleash a lot of very unholy things. And no one wants that. We don't want that. We want peace in our homes. And so this is Valerie's story. Valerie and her friends thought it would be fun to take a Ouija board to a cemetery. I love you, Valerie. I know Valerie personally, and we can laugh together now. Maybe. Unless she's still being haunted, and then that's not very funny. She admits it. Really a stupid choice, okay? She's already said it. And honestly, we love the accountability, and we're here for the accountability, and I appreciate that, Valerie. You're older and you're wiser. At some point, Valerie forgot that the Ouija board was in her closet, and it was fully tucked away in there, and she's just minding her business. She starts to feel like something's watching her and staring at her all the time, and she's getting a little uneasy about it. She's like, I feel like I'm being watched. This feels weird. This feels off. No, we don't believe that. I'm just kidding. We definitely believe Valerie, because what the fuck, Valerie? There's something watching you breathe at night while your eyes are closed and you're asleep. It's watching you kind of way, So naturally, she gets rid of the board. She got rid of it because, she's not trying to have demons in the house, not rent-free. Which, thank you for getting rid of the board, because the minute your closet starts to feel like it has eyes looking at you, it's time to take the supernatural trash out. And honestly, that probably saved her from being on the next episode of Paranormal Nightmare. I'm just saying. Great show. Love you guys. Okay, listen, at the very end, I'll give you a list of like my favorite paranormal shows to watch on YouTube. The ones that I believe are wholeheartedly like not making shit up. You might have a difference in opinion, or if you have other recommendations, drop them in the comments below, but I will share with you at the end my favorites. If you have an Ouija board like in your home somewhere, especially like one you've used in a graveyard or in some other questionable place, babe, at this point, it's not home decor. It's a liability, okay? Your house could catch on fire. I don't know, weird things happen, okay? I'm just saying. But burn it, bury it, trash it. That's probably poor advice too. I don't know. Launch it into the sun. I don't know. Just saying. And now for the ghost story that lives in my mind rent free. This one's mine. So picture it, Sicily. Just kidding, Denton, Texas. So this was like 2019. We had moved to Denton, Texas, and we were kind of in a pressed situation where we needed to get into an apartment very quickly. My husband was working for a concrete company, long hours, like 14 to 16 hour days. And every morning I would get up at the crack of disrespect, usually around like 2 in the morning on occasion, but generally in the early wee morning hours, okay? Because concrete, it's nonstop, baby. Like long hours, long days. It's long. To start his day better, I would get up with him every morning and I would make his breakfast. I would pack his lunch. That morning, I sent him off like usual. And then I crawled back into bed. Now, let me paint you a picture really quick, okay? We lived in a townhome and there was an enclosed patio in the front. And you would enter through the patio door. And then when you entered through the patio door, you'd turn around, you would lock the patio door, and then you would walk to the front door, okay? So there's 2 doors and an enclosed patio in the front, okay? So our bedroom, like when you were walking into the patio, to the left was a sliding glass door. Our bedroom was there, and then there was another sliding glass door, and then our front door was sandwiched between. But the front door obviously led into the living room area and the kitchen area from there. So if anyone came in or out, you would hear it. Plus we had a dog. She would have sounded an alarm before a door even opened. Our 2 oldest girls shared a bedroom. They were in their bedroom. And then in our bedroom, we had a bassinet with our youngest. Him having just left, like I would have heard, you know, if somebody was like coming through or not. So crawl back into bed. I put the covers over me. The baby's asleep. And I feel kind of this dip on the side of the bed. It was almost like someone had sat down next to me on the side of the bed. So I felt that dip, but then it almost felt like an embrace through the covers. Like I was being hugged from behind. Girl, are you okay? She's a little old. You good, girl? See, getting yourself all riled up when you could have just been minding your business, drinking your water. It almost like I was being hugged from behind. And then I heard a man's voice say, "I love you." Half asleep, you know, I'm like, "I love you too. Did you forget something?" Thinking it was my husband because I had sent him off. So I'm like, did he come back? Did he need something? Half asleep, and I just kind of like, I turn over and like no one's there. I was very confused and I was very like, am I crazy? You know, I'm sat up, I'm wide awake. My husband's not there. And I texted my husband and I was like, "Did you just come home for something?" And he was like, "No, I'm like, I made it to work. I'm not. I didn't come back." And that was like my first, like for sure experience. Like I had experienced small things in the past, like as a child. That's why I say what I say about kids, because being more susceptible. Like I couldn't explain it. And when you can't explain stuff like that, it just makes you question, you know, your sanity, and it makes you feel like you're nuts. I'm just being honest. That's kind of how it made me feel. And I really didn't know if anyone, even him, even my own husband, if he would believe me. And I explained to him like what happened. It felt like there was someone here. I thought you came back. I thought you said that you loved me. I said, "I love you too. Did you forget anything?" I mean, I recapped and did the whole thing. And it was just weird. It still gives me chills. I couldn't explain it. But my grandfather had died 2 years before that. And I like to think that it was his spirit visiting me, just giving me that closure that I didn't get. I really took it hard because in 2017, I was going through a nasty divorce, and my grandfather had passed away of cancer, and I felt really guilty for a long time. I didn't get to say goodbye. I had the opportunity. I was already feeling so emotionally weak and vulnerable, and just I was really going through it. It was a nasty divorce, and I just didn't have the capacity to say goodbye. And I know that sounds maybe a little selfish, but I just did not want to bring that energy with me during my grandfather's transition. So like, who was hugging me? I feel like it was my grandfather, you know? I feel like maybe that was his way of saying bye. Maybe he knew that I was struggling with his passing and he didn't want me to feel a certain way, and maybe that was kind of what that was. It felt paranormal. It felt spiritual. Again, take it for what you will. For me, I feel like I maybe am a little more sensitive to paranormal happenings, which explains the kind of person I am. If you know, you know. All of the people who have shared these stories with me, like, I fully believe that these things have happened, because what clout do we get for making this stuff up? Don't be that person. If someone's coming to you and they're panicked and they're telling you something's going on, like, believe them. I mean, especially if you know the person. I am gonna add a smidge more blush, because I'm a blush whore and I'm probably blush blind. I don't really care. It's a vibe. Now for the lip. I'm gonna go nude and glossy. Cool toned. It's a fun, dark, spooky look, and I felt like it was appropriate for the occasion. Having that little bit of glitter shimmer moment in the middle, on the top and the bottom, it's giving Morticia meets glam. I'm obsessed with it. I love this. Everybody's different, everyone's vibe is different, but I felt like this was an appropriate look to do today because of the paranormal vibe that we're going for. But what do we think? 3 like ghost YouTube paranormal channels that I follow that I love. First one is obviously going to be Paranormal Nightmare. Midwest Ghost Hunter. That guy goes solo, which that's brave, because I need a buddy system, you know? I need a buddy. Oh my God. We saw the best episode this last time. I don't remember when it was from. Again, I will try to figure that out and put it up here. And then the next one that we love is Project Fear. We love Project Fear around here. Project Fear, listen, there's ghost adventures, right? So Dakota was there's a guy named Dakota who now kind of is like the lead for Project Fear. He worked with Zach Bagans and Aaron, and anyway, yeah. You know, Ghost Adventures, I liked them at first, but there's a lot of hot goss going on right now with all of that. Anyway, Dakota at one point worked for them and decided to branch off and do his own thing and have his own project once him and Zach kind of got into a little kerfuffle. And so then once that happened, he branched off and started doing his own thing. Project Fear is his project now, and him and his sister and their 3 friends go exploring and doing all of the things, and it's a great show. If you like history, they go to places that are very rich with history, and like, it's very informative. It's great. Like, I love being educated. I like history too a lot, like, you know. So if you're into that sort of thing, I'll put the 3 channels over here somewhere and you can check them out for yourself, but they're great. I'm also going to link my Reddit, LipstickandLore. Join me, please, please, please. Because I really want to know more stories. I love paranormal. I love Bigfoot stories. I love cryptid stories. I like weird and unexplained things. Love it. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't have to explain it, because now I'm almost 37 and I am very comfortable with who I am. So that ship has sailed a long time ago. But I was the weird kid. When I was really, really small, I would open the obituaries. I would read them. I would always be fascinated with death and things like that. I even toggled with the idea of becoming a death doula at one point. Anyway, tell me who some of your favorite paranormal people are on YouTube or anywhere else, and tell me why you like them. Tell me your experiences in the comments. Have you ever been visited by a spirit? And no, you're not gonna get bad vibes from this video, so don't I claim no negative energy from this video. claim no negative energy. Of course you don't. No negative juju is coming from this video, okay? See? See? Nothing. My name is Brittany McLean. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And as always, I appreciate all of my viewer interaction, all of your comments. I enjoy seeing them. Please send more, join the Reddit, join me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, blah, 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 all of the places. I'm around. I like you. So maybe we could have a second date if you're new here. Maybe you could come back next time. I'd love that for me and for you. I mean, we could be besties, you know? Just saying. Have a great week, everybody. Love you. Bye.